playoff picture changed. Welcome to the fam.
Thanks, Mike. And what a day to join, I guess. You talk about that high-stakes drama in the early games this afternoon. Let's start right. Two of those teams that were right there on the line in the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts, #1. They were up against it late in this game. You saw Houston had a chance to go in and beat the Colts. Had that happened, the Colts' playoff chances right now might be somewhere in the 30s. Instead, they came into today with a 56% shot of making the playoffs. They come out of today by hanging on with a better than 60% shot of making the playoffs. Remember, they were in the final spot coming into today. Talking about, speaking of late game heroics, what about the Raiders against the Jets this afternoon? The Raiders came into today with a 47% shot. Now, they took care of business in the end with that miracle. It gets them to a 49% shot of making the playoffs. So not a big difference by winning, but really what this means for the Raiders is it averted catastrophe, because had they lost, had they not pulled it out in the final seconds, they'd be looking at something like a 10 or 15% shot of making the playoffs. Instead, they are very much in the mix, and it really sets the stage for next week when you can see it. Next up for the Raiders, they play the Colts. The Colts play the Raiders. Those two teams go head-to-head last week. They are sitting right there on the line in the AFC right now when it comes to making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. Huge game there next week. And let's take a look here, big picture at the AFC playoff situation right now. Call up those AFC playoff standings, and you can see it. Indianapolis and Vegas right there on the line. The other thing I think your eye is drawn to is Miami. They beat Cincinnati today. They're sitting there with a 51% shot of making the playoffs. Look down here, the 9th spot, way out of the playoffs at this point, but Baltimore almost the same chance as Miami of making the playoffs, 47% for the Ravens. Why? Has everything to do with schedule strength. The Ravens with the easiest schedule in the league down the stretch. Miami, meanwhile, much tougher slate starting next week with Kansas City. So that's why the Ravens very much alive despite being in 9th place. And by the way, one more I'd be remiss if I didn't mention right here. You mentioned it, Chris, a minute ago. Cleveland, 97% right now. This would be the Browns' first playoff bid in 18 years, and they are now almost there, Mike.